It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
All right, welcome back to SportSense. This is the show where we break down sports news for sports noobs. And I'm a sports noob. I'm Cooper Epps, and I'm on a journey to understand sports and sports culture. How many times can I say sports in this intro? I'm guided here by my dad, James Epps. And hey, Dad, how's it going?
Hey, good, Coop.
Good. Well, welcome back. This is season 2, episode 23, if you're keeping up. And before we go any further, remember, I do mark the topics in the description notes. So whatever platform you're on, go to the notes of the episode and you can click on the time codes, which will jump you straight to whichever section. Tonight, it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to break down the recent NFL games that led us to the final 2 teams that will be in the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. And we're going to spend a good chunk of time talking about the Olympics and getting you prepped. As American fans, which I think most of our listeners are right now, we're going to get you prepped for who to be looking out for as the Winter Olympics begin in just a couple weeks as well. So that's what we got going on tonight. But Dad, any preambles for you? What's going on with you?
Yeah. Hang on. Catch me a good shot here for our screen.
BYU Cougs. Yeah, that's a nice shirt. Nike.
All right. That's just I'll catch a couple of notes about that throughout the podcast tonight.
Well, I got a couple short mailbag points for us tonight. The first one, and this was not in the notes, Dad, so I'm throwing you a curveball with this one. Macy sent several posts to our account about new rules for the college football playoffs. So we just came off the college football playoffs. Indiana just won their first ever championship. We did a big episode about that a week or two ago. But have you heard of these? Do you know what's going on there?
I have not.
I haven't really either. We can do a deeper dive another time.
Have they been verified by a trusted additional source? I'm just kidding.
These are from Instagram, so who knows? But basically, it's saying.
Oh, yes. You know what? I'm sorry. I did see that because I saw a headline that said, "Congratulations, Notre Dame, on your 2026 CFP, making this 2026 CFP." I did see that, and I did glance at a couple of paragraphs, seeing the change. And that's, in fact, let's look at Notre Dame locks a spot if ranked in the top 12. First round games are played on campus. Yeah, I'm looking at those right here.
So,
and there's been some cleanup. I think I had heard there's been some improvement. I hope.
We'll see. I'm seeing some online sentiment, like the caption of this post Macy sent me says, "The new CFP system is a capital, all caps, absolute mess." So I don't know what these are, but they do say under these new rules, Notre Dame would have made it this year. Duke would have made it apparently instead of Miami. Anyways, so we'll come back to you guys with that, but apparently there's some moving and shaking going on there. Hopefully it's improvement, like you said, Dad, but so far it looks like people maybe are a little upset.
I say improvement. I think it will help avoid, and no offense to those Cinderella teams that squeezed in, but and I don't mean Miami and Ole Miss. I mean,
JMU.
I think that won't happen. That won't happen again. But anyway, all right.
Okay.
Tell Mason thank you so much. We'll get we'll keep up to speed.
Yeah, keep an eye on that, Dad, because I want you to be able to explain that to us.
We'll go back. I'm looking at it right now, but we'll
later
come
this
back.
season. Okay. All right. The next thing is Zach. Zach is, he's been a guest on the podcast, a close friend of mine. He texted saying that we totally undersold the Fernando Mendoza story. So if you don't remember Fernando Mendoza, he was the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that led Indiana University to their national championship a couple weeks ago. So he sent a tweet because we were basically like, hey, Fernando Mendoza, he was only a 2-star recruit coming out of high school. He tried to walk onto Miami, but got denied. And so it was kind of cool that he beat Miami in the championship.
Which is his hometown. His dream was to play there.
Right. But this tweet says 130 schools said no to him.
Yeah, he had almost no
that,
offers. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then, but Indiana took him. Of course, Indiana was pretty bad at the time.
Well, he
So,
went to Cal first, and I can't remember who
really?
he went to before Cal. Yeah, he came from Cal over.
He bounced
Indiana.
around. Okay, well there you go.
We had to go back.
Glad I have
so
you to
he's right,
me.
but and Zach, I appreciate his input. I do, and it is an amazing story. But we didn't quite have the time and to go that deep into some of it.
Right.
I mean, I dug a little bit further because, and this is a real personal thing about it, and I loved that the news organizations, they did not play on they played on his parents. And of course he has his brother that played, who's going in the portal, by the way. He's going to leave Indiana, his brother, look for a place to go play. But his mother, if you kept watching, the father would always sit down real quick and celebrate with her, hug. Finally, I could tell, okay, she can't stand. Then I could see a really nice wheelchair. Took me a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I dug a little deep. So she's had and been battling MS for 20 years. So she's in some latter stages that she's lost her mobility. So, when he received his Heisman, he calls her mommy. Now that might sound funny to Americans, English speaking, but they're Spanish descent, right? So mommy is like, that's like mama or mamita,
okay.
Mommy is like it's not like our mommy, like little child mommy. It's
it's not
just
kiddish.
Another way you say it. Yeah, it's Spanish like. Anyway, it's real sweet, and he's just how close he is to her, and it's not easy for her to travel and do all those things. So that was a whole understory, and I know they did a little something on it, but I appreciate them not focusing on it and selling it so hard, because it is incredibly, she's amazing. I mean, the strength of her and her husband and the kids to just move her about and get her from town to town, city to city, the games. And it's pretty remarkable. Super. It's quite the sacrifice that she's made. And it's been going on for years, not just this year. This is what she's done since he's in high school and before. Right. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there for Zach. That's a family. To me, it is even more amazing. And of course, I don't know if Zach's also did he reference it all about, his dating habits that we mentioned before? Well, that came back.
No, but I think we mentioned that on the podcast.
Yeah, we did. It came out, it resurfaced after this. So anyway, we don't need to talk about it anymore, but hey, I don't blame him.
Yeah, he's very focused on the game. Yeah.
I just love that about his family. So, I mean, that's about as rock solid as you can get.
Yep. If you haven't heard, the short story is that Mendoza, he just didn't date in college because he's like, I'm just going to watch film and I'm going to become the best quarterback I can be in the limited time I have. And now he's going to go to the NFL. So,
not just go, he's going to probably be the number one pick. That's insane.
Wow.
That's insane. Anyway. Okay.
So yeah, I've seen some memes about like Raiders fans watching Mendoza play in the championship, and they're all just like ogling at the TV, just like
drool coming out.
Because will they have first round pick, I guess?
Yes, they have the first pick.
Okay.
So they could sell it. They could trade it and get a bunch of other picks, but I don't think they will. Tom Brady is now part of that managerial organization. And
really?
I think he's probably seeing a lot of character and characteristics that he likes in Mendoza. So I'm pretty sure as a group, they will be selecting him. I don't think there's any question from what the word is on the street. There's no question.
Yeah.
They'll be taken.
Well, hopefully it'll help that team because they've been in the dumps for a little while now. Okay, exactly. Let's keep moving forward. So the last part of the mailbag, this one's for me. Okay, this is a personal note. I watched a little bit of the one of the NFL games yesterday, and I noticed that one of the Rams players had his helmet looked like it was made of fabric, like a pillow almost on top of his head. So I asked my in-laws, I was like, "What is that guy wearing?" Anyways, they were like, "Yeah, it's basically just a extra cushion, extra safe helmet that you can choose to wear." I said, well, why aren't all of them wearing that? If like we know about CTE and these like crazy brain problems that NFL players are riddled with. So yeah, basically they were like, well, it doesn't look cool. So yeah, nobody wants to wear it. It doesn't look cool like the shiny ones. So what's your take on this?
So I amen to your in-laws of what I think the biggest why. You have to remember think of all these guys that play, for the most part, they are indestructible almost in their own minds. These are young 20s, some of them in their early 30s. The only ones, so I do think it's because it doesn't look cool, and definitely most of the receivers, I think in their mind they probably think it slows them down, even though it probably doesn't. But you know what I mean? It just that big wad sitting on, that's what I call it, a big wad sitting on top of their head. Now, I think some will wear them more often during practice when they have contact practices. You might see some more wearing them during the training, anytime where there's contact. Some might wear it and some might not wear it in the game. But I agree with your in-laws. I really think there's not any
It's just
doubt.
a style,
it's
cosmetic
the look
preference.
and style. And I think the ones that do wear it have had more than likely their fair share of concussions, and they're smart, and they're trying to prolong their not only NFL career but their life. And there's probably not that many. There just doesn't appear to be that many players who are of that understanding and again maturity, right, and wisdom they're applying. But I don't think they have a tremendous amount of data yet on how much it does improve, but they've done a huge amount of testing, right? Not on humans, but huge amount of testing on shock, hitting it, having the shock waves go to a non-human brain, but electrodes and whatever in there to test. And they have enough to show that it is a considerable improvement. When your head bounces off the hard turf or gets hit head on, that it definitely absorbs the shock much better and distributes it through that wad, whatever that it is. So but I do think it's mostly, it just looks terrible from what these macho super stud top of the world athletes.
It's not very cinematic. You don't have light glinting off it like those shiny glittery helmets. So I get it.
You can't see the deep, especially those that put that deep variations in some of the colors, right? You of all people ought to appreciate this. Graphics and color. And so anyway, that's my answer too.
Interesting. All right. Well,
but
I
support and would never make fun of any of them that wear it. I think they're the smart. They're the smart ones, in my opinion.
For sure. Well, it'll be interesting to see if that usage of that increases as the years go on. So keep an eye out for that, I suppose. Okay, let's do a little bit of sports speak. This one doesn't really play into any of our stories this week, but it was a term that came up over the weekend, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about. So with that,
let us learn some sports speak.
The term this week is WAG. Now, Dad, have you heard of a WAG before?
I had not.
So I guess I'll define this for you tonight, Dad. It means wives and girlfriends of the athlete, or wife or girlfriend of an athlete. So it basically was used in the plural form, wives and girlfriends, WAGs, for a long time. Then it became like you could just call someone a WAG, even though you're not the wife and girlfriend of someone. It's still the term still applies. And I looked it up because I was like, oh, well, what about husbands and boyfriends? Are there HABs? It looks like that term certainly isn't as widely used, but it's on the rise as we start to focus more on the NBA and other women's sports. That term is on the rise. And as we talk about the Olympics, you'll hear about HABs a little bit in the news cycle probably in the next few weeks. Anyways, that's all it is. Let's move into our actual news segment and talk about the NFL a little bit. There were 2 games, and Dad, we talked about conferences, the organization of the NFL recently. These were the 2 conference championships of the NFC and the AFC. Tell us a little bit about what happened there this weekend.
Well, this is it, right? So the winners of each will be representing their conferences in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. And I've got some notes, and I got a few tidbits I want to throw in.
Oh,
daddy tidbits.
Let it begin.
Yes. And by the way, since this is a free-flowing show that we do, I have purposely you've got a topic that you want to hit on briefly about a climber and a building. And yes. I forgot, I finally glanced at, and I would not watch, but we'll come back to that. And it actually just a reel of it just came up with some of it, and seeing him and makes my feet tingle and make me go crazy. So that's stop.
Let's
We'll
talk
save
about
that.
it. No,
you'll do it now.
Right. Well, yeah, let's do it now since you brought it up.
All right.
So,
All right.
okay, and we'll get it out of the way really quick.
Yeah, it's
if you
quick,
didn't hear, look, the news cycle has been crazy right now with political stuff. Okay, we acknowledge that. That's kind of why we do this podcast, is because, frankly, it's nice to have sports as a bit of a distraction and like something not polarizing when you're just making social conversation. And so just wanted to call that out. Like, we know there's crazy stuff in the world right now, and we pray for people, and we try to do what we can in our little communities to make the world a little bit better. But it's been so crazy that I think a lot of people missed this event. So Alex Honnold is his name. You guys may have heard of a documentary. It might be about 10 years old now, called Free Solo. And it was with this guy. Oh, and if you don't know what free soloing is, it's probably your dream sport, Dad, but it's it's too bad you didn't get into it in the 80s. But it's where you rock climb, or as some athletes have taken it, building climb, skyscraper climb, with absolutely no restraints, no ropes, no safety gear at all. It's basically for the greatest adrenaline junkies on the planet, and probably the most stupid ones in a way. But maybe not stupid, because have you seen the documentary, Dad, Free Solo?
No, I haven't. I need to, I guess, but it's gonna be hard for me to watch probably the actual climbing. Because right now I see him climb that last few feet, and what he does to get to the top. The wind is blowing like crazy. I just think one big gust could send him. I just can't hardly look at it.
In Free Solo, he climbs El Capitan, I believe.
Yeah, that's where he really became world famous, right? That was his big.
Yes, he was the first one to ever accomplish that, free soloing, and my palms and hands were sweating that whole documentary. I that never happens to me just watching something. But anyways, great documentary. And so I rescind my comment about him being stupid. I mean, he's stupid in some ways as far as risk aversion goes, but this guy, I mean, he's like Fernando Mendoza as a quarterback, or any of these incredible athletes who study. And the documentary shows how yes, exactly. He's got every nook and cranny mapped out, rehearsed, practiced, and then when he does the ultimate climb without any gear, it's just basically him having to do a perfect performance of everything he rehearsed and studied. And so,
well, yeah, to me, it seemed like what the extra that I read, he has to be an architect, an engineer, a weather expert. Yeah. I mean, and then to execute his game plan, like you said, he cannot have a mistake. There are no mistakes allowed. So it's like pitching a perfect baseball game, or I mean, no imperfections are allowed.
He talks about that in the documentary, and that's part of what draws him to the sport, is the absolute need for perfection and how obsessed he is with it. So anyways, watch the documentary. But just a few days ago, live on Netflix with a 10-second broadcast delay. There was a broadcast delay, so if something were to happen, they could just cut the broadcast. But he free solo climbed, however you say it, Tapei 101, the 11th tallest skyscraper in the world. And he just climbed it. And you can go watch tons of videos of it. Every floor of the building had people cheering him on and waving and filming him. And that was what, if you watch the documentary, 10 years ago, he was like, I need privacy. Like, he barely let people film him. And then in this instance, I was so fascinated because the whole world was watching, or whoever streamed on Netflix. And then everybody in this building was watching him and interacting with him. And he was waving to people and stuff.
His final, what do you call the final ascent or assault? The final, he stopped and waved, took one hand off and waved.
Yeah.
To all, and then they showed all the people in there. I thought, oh my God. Don't let go, man.
And like you said, his shirt was blowing up, his hair was blowing like that. It was strong wind. It was, So
I might have nightmares tonight about that one.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it, but honestly, it was just a busy weekend and we forgot to stream it. So anyways, that was a big deal though. And so we do want to mention that. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Go back.
Let's let's talk. I think the main thing I wanted to talk about tonight, we won't have much time to talk about. So let's just
We'll do a quick
I'll do
intro.
a cursory. Yeah, we'll do a cursory thing on that later about the.
And I'm
Winter
not going to
Olympics,
stay
but-
too long on the NFL here. I'll be pretty quick.
Okay.
Just hit you
Yeah,
hard.
tell us about the
the
NFL
main
this
thing.
weekend.
Yeah, the main thing I want to say is this season has been tremendous. And as we had some of the perennials go down, i.e. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, the Philadelphia Eagles petered out. They were the former Super Bowl champions from last year. As we had some of these guys, we had some new teams start coming up, and I love the new blood. Especially, I love a turnaround story, right? So anyway, so the games have been great this year. I really think that NFL as a whole has had a lot of great games, but the playoffs have been crazy, truly crazy. How competitive, exciting. Weather comes in. It's a variety of things, but so if you just kind of like it somewhat, and you started watching, I think you couldn't, if you didn't fall in love and get pumped or have the at least going, whoa, how is this thing going to end? If you didn't have those feelings, then I would never come back to an NFL game again the rest of your life, because it doesn't get any better than this. And now we can only hope that the Super Bowl will be equal to that, right? We hope it ends up being the same competitive game. But let's quickly touch on the Patriots who are playing at the Denver Broncos. The first half, if you just look film, it looked chilly, it looked cold, but it looked bad. But everybody knew a blizzard was coming and it was going to hit before the game came over. And sure enough, it started right before half and through half. And by the end of the game, the field was covered. It's one of those games they were having the second half, they were having to walk with with regular blowers, leaf blowers, to keep blowing off the lines so the refs could see the lines. So that kind of, and the wind was blowing sideways. And put it this way, there were several field goal attempts, but only one was made total.
Wow.
So interesting. Here's a couple of tidbits from this game. So the Patriots won 10-7, low scoring game, right? Low scoring game, but the weather was brutal.
As a reminder, this was against the Broncos, who were missing their starting quarterback, Bo Nix, because he broke his ankle last game.
So Jared Stidham had not thrown this is one of my tidbits, had not thrown an NFL pass since January 7th, 2024.
Wow. Okay.
Think about that.
Yeah.
And he came out in their first drive, the first or second drive, he looked good and threw a couple passes, touchdown. That's how they started. Now they never scored another point. The next 10 drives, they got 0 points. One was a coach's decision. He was only 31 yards out, should have kicked the field goal in hindsight, but they went for it on 4th and 1. It was the play call on 4th and 1, by the way, that to me made no sense. They had 3 feet to go, tuck it and run, figure out a way to blast the line, tush push something. But considering you've only had a quarterback who hadn't played in forever, right? And but they did a rollout and he threw a pass that just didn't connect. Anyway, so the points weren't there, but the snowstorm hit. I mean, that's classic winter NFL football. You could hardly see at times. It was so cool. I mean, I just thought, man, if I was, love to play in that kind of weather, that'd be so cool. Now, when I say one tidbit was just, if you got to pay attention. Again, if you're into it, in the second half, Denver was trying to tie it. They had a reasonable field goal. One finger. This is where, talking about inches determine a game. Well, sometimes it's only one finger, and they kept playing it over and over. One finger touched that field goal attempt. A lineman got his hand out, and it hit one finger, and it did just enough to knock it off its trajectory to barely miss. I mean, you can see how it just changed a little bit and a little bit of a wobble.
Wow. Yeah.
Is that not crazy? That guy's finger needs to be casted and put in a bronze, right? Because it saved the game probably for them, at least from tying. Another great fact for people were making light a little bit of the Patriots because they did have, as it turned out, a little bit easier schedule this year. But in the NFL, winning away games are not easy, no matter who you play, even if it is the Las Vegas Raiders. You can lose a game, an away game. It just can happen. It happens quite often. Well, the Patriots through the playoffs too are 9-0 this year on the road.
Wow. Okay.
9-0. So I don't think that's been talked about. Yep.
Even with their easier schedule, you're saying they've proved themselves well enough.
Right, on the road. I mean, and especially last 2 playoff games. Also, the prior 2 playoff games, they were a little sloppy, and they had 5 turnovers total last 2 playoff games. They had 0 turnovers yesterday. So to me, they're getting better. It was a massive storm. They played in terrible weather second half, and they still avoided it. I mean, that's the big thing. Again, that Denver's defense was what they were billed to be. They were great, but I think a little bit, which surprised me, a coaching mistake or 2 on the Broncos. And yes, not having Bo Nix made a big difference. It had to, because the one critical turnover that the Broncos had was their quarterback made a mistake, and it really cost them. And that gave the Patriots their one fairly easy touchdown from just 15, 20 yards out. So that cost him. But I think he did great overall, because he hadn't thrown a pass in 2 years. He hung in there. But the Patriots defense as a whole, I think did a pretty good job. So that's that game, right? So the New England Patriots, and this is a personal, I don't know if he listens to us. He does once in a while. Keaton's one of his best friends. Paul is, thankfully I haven't heard from him, but I might after this, because Keaton says he has been obnoxious through all this whole season. They've been winning. So do you remember last year what their record was, the Patriots? This is one of the turnaround stories. 4-13. Or that might have been, was that 2 years ago? But anyway, this has been a massive turnaround when they got the right coach, the right quarterback. So anyway, but Paul's going to be really insufferable now that they made it to Super Bowl. If they win the Super Bowl, I won't even be able to talk to him this year. I'm sure it's going to be rough. But for Paul, congratulations. I know you're thrilled.
Yeah. Well, and I learned fact from my in-laws that the Patriots are owned by the Kraft family, Kraft mac and cheese. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know Mr. Kraft, but I know Mr. Kraft. He also bought that. Didn't he have the razor company, or was that the guy before him? But that's Mr. Kraft. But
okay, everybody knows Mr. Kraft apparently. All right, well, let's move on to
second
Seahawks versus the Rams.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just let you go to town on this, but I think we can kind of just
real quick
pass over pretty quick.
Real quick, rubber match, right? Remember the rubber match? So these guys have already played twice this year.
Oh, okay. And were they 1-1 against
Seahawks? Yes, Seahawks won by 1 point when they won.
Okay.
The Rams won by 2 points. Total offensive yards, the difference between the two teams over those 2 games, 1 yard.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Can you get more even, or can this be more exciting?
Right.
Now, that's where a number 1 seed pays off, because they were playing in Seattle. So Seattle won 31-27. It was crazy. My tidbit for this game is there's a nickname for the Los Angeles Rams kicker. You probably haven't seen a picture of him. You have to look him up. His nickname is Thicker Kicker.
Okay.
Look at him.
Oh, whoa. He's pretty pudgy.
He is a square.
He's 5'11".
He's a tank. Yeah.
And just a tank. Wow.
See how much he weighs. I forgot how much he weighs.
I have never seen a kicker that looks like this. Let's see.
Best nickname I've heard in a long time.
His okay, he's 245 pounds.
There you go. 5'11". So
I mean,
I think Thicker Kicker is very appropriate. I love that. But this game was like their other 2 games, back and forth, crazy. The Rams got behind a little bit. They called up. They took the lead. Seattle, which Sam Darnold, this is where your brother Keaton has been pulling for Sam Darnold, who flamed out with the Jets, which all new quarterbacks do when he's first, taken in I think it's first in the draft. And then he didn't make the Panthers team, basically. They got rid of him. He struggled for a few years, and then we know this has been his comeback. So I don't think they can ever question him again. He's made it to, so it doesn't matter if he wins the Super Bowl. What a season. What a team. Really interesting. Seattle had allowed their defense had allowed the least amount of points in the NFL. So they led the league in allowing the least amount of points.
Yeah.
So it made their defense the best. LA, the Rams, had the most points of any offense in the NFL. So what a collision course, right? What
it's
a
like
collision course.
Unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
And bottom line is they went head to head, and it went down to the last few seconds, really, just firing the ball down the field. But Seattle won, and it was amazing. The best defense against the best offense, and it really was another toss-up, just except for a play or two.
Yeah.
Seattle got a first down right toward the stretch. That was literally maybe an inch of the receiver reaching out as he's getting tackled. I mean, you had you completely on the edge of your seat. Again, as I said, great games throughout. And so Super Bowl 2 weeks from yesterday on the 8th, and it's going to be pretty amazing.
So what do you think about the matchup, Seahawks versus Patriots?
Well, we'll talk about it. I think it's a good matchup. I think Seattle will be, I haven't looked at the betting line. Seattle will be a favorite by a few points. And I don't think there's any question. But when you play one game, anything can happen. If the wrong one or two turnovers occur, he throws a couple interceptions from Darnold, you never know. Get a pick six that surprises everybody. Because New England believes as a team, they believe. So anyway, we'll talk about that as we build up and talk about the anyway. By the way, so my closing, go ahead. Do you want anything else on that?
I was just going to move to our next thing. Yeah. What's your closing?
Well, my next thing is my shirt. So the only reason we mentioned this, but BYU blew out, which your wife was at the game with her father, blew out Utah. It was a tough, scrappy game until about 10 minutes to go, but blew out Utah. Yeah. But what made it amazing was their soon-to-be drafted number 1 or 2 in the NBA next season, at the end of this season, AJ DeBonsa had 43 points. He broke 2 scoring records at BYU, freshman records, and they were at Danny Ainge's, at least one of them. They might both have been Danny Ainge's records. So that was a blast to watch. That's the first game I've sat down this year and watched the whole start to finish game. And tonight, they've got, being in the Big 12, Big 12's got so many good teams. Tonight, they play the number 1 team in the country, Arizona. Which, again, you've got family going right there in Provo. And so the second part is I'm so excited to fly out to you again.
2 weekends from now, right?
Yeah. It'll be a week from Thursday. I'll fly out and I wanted to see this team, especially with AJ. I want to see them live. I've been to BYU football games at the stadium, but I don't think I've been to a BYU basketball game at Marriott Center it could have been back in almost college days. It could have been 40 something years, 40 years. So I've been wanting to do this forever. And
so I didn't know you had this itch or this dream. So
I did. I've been wanting to kind of go to a game if it worked out when we were out there, if I ever went. But with this team, this is really unique. And this player, I thought, and the energy and what the Marriott Center's like now, apparently just blowing off the roof.
Yeah.
So hopefully I won't jinx him, and hopefully he'll have a good game. So don't tell him I'm coming in case something bad goes wrong. But they play again another top-ranked team in the country, University of Houston. And thanks to your father-in-law, I get to go with you and have great seats. So I'm pumped.
I was gonna say thank you. Yeah, thanks. Shout out to Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
He's hooking us up. So
very excited. So that was it. That's why I'm wearing my BYU shirt tonight.
Yeah, go Cougs. We're not done talking about the Cougs on this podcast because their football team was great, but the basketball team has been just as great, it seems like, this season. So
oh my gosh, it's unbelievable.
Great time to be a BYU fan for sure. Okay. Well, we're at the we've been going for a while, and I had wanted to make this kind of a Olympic prep episode. I don't know, maybe we'll just post some stuff to social, but let me just do a quick bullet point list of a couple interesting things to note. The Olympics start February 6th, just 2 days before the Super Bowl.
So this is a wet your whistle.
Yes, we're going to dip our toe in the water. Maybe we'll do half and half next week, half Super Bowl, half Olympics.
Yeah.
If we feel like it. Just depends how much we have to talk about the Super Bowl. But just a couple interesting things to note. Because Macy and I were talking about it. I was like, "Are you excited for the Olympics?" And she said, I don't think I have given it one single thought. And I think that's how a lot of people are feeling right now, is just, I don't know. Okay. But I think once it hits, we'll start to see the clips and hear the stories, and people are going to get excited about it.
Well, in the United States, what'll pump them up if we have some success, right? We have stories to tell. What always works best is the stories they tell.
Oh, okay.
Winning and the stories they tell, right? I do think whoever has the Olympics, NBC, whoever has them this year, to me, it's those backstories. And when we get those out there, and then we go to the event, and then we might not always do great, but we might have placed 12th in some strange thing that we never heard of. But boy, the backstory makes it. We find out, those. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just amazing.
And sometimes
so that's when I get kind of pumped. I'm like her right now. I hadn't even thought about it. But I can get pumped if I get the right person to follow, the right event to follow, and the backstory. I get sold. Yeah.
Well, and what I loved about the 2 years ago, the Summer Olympics, were the stories that just came out of what happened there. Like, there was no story besides just what happened there. One of them being, Ray Gunn is what they called her, the Australian break dancer. Do you remember her?
Yeah, barely.
She was the one that did
much of that.
The craziest. Like, it looked like she just lied her way into the Olympics and then went on the stage and just made up something. It was hilarious. I don't know.
Okay, so first of all, I think I had problems with breakdancing being in the Olympics anyway. So
for sure
that's
yeah, that was weird anyways. But that was hilarious. And then there was the target shooter with his pistol. Everybody else had their super high-end gear. They looked like sci-fi characters. And then this one guy just kind of came in a jeans and a t-shirt and just kind of pointed his gun at the target and got the silver medal, just like as if he didn't even care or didn't even try. It was incredible.
Did he have a cowboy hat on too when he went? Or something.
I think he just had a baseball cap on or something.
Baseball cap. It was something so
super casual. That was the coolest thing, even though he didn't gold medal. I mean, so I'm looking forward to those kinds of moments where somebody just kind of shows up and something funny or interesting happens. So, but a couple things to note. There's an interesting story about hockey in the Olympics, or interesting history, I should say, which is that for I guess it was most of the Olympics that you were supposed to only enter amateur athletes.
Correct.
But I did some history study today, and I was reading about the Cold War and how basically Russia, not to call names out.
I'm going to add one. East Germany and Russia and China.
Basically,
I'm calling them all out. Those are the big three.
Right. So they were training. They called them amateur athletes. They somehow by name would call them a student or whatever, but really they were just full-time training for the Olympics. And so that's how you got the story of the Miracle on Ice, probably the most famous Winter Olympics story, which is where America was able to defeat Russia in a narrow victory with only amateur, like actually student athletes against
college players.
Yeah, against Russia's completely professional, full-grown men athletes. And so understanding that history was fascinating to me. It helped me appreciate that story more. And I'm going to go watch Miracle again before the Olympics
it's the
start.
Best. Yeah.
Yes. But I wanted to call that out because then in 1988, they in response to realizing these countries were just training athletes for the Olympics, the amateur factor was gone. They just decided to go ahead and partner with the NHL and whatever and allow professional athletes in. So NHL athletes were in the Olympics for a few decades, but then they skipped the last two Winter Olympics. In 2018, apparently NHL owners just didn't want to give up their players or something. And I didn't read all about it, but for some weird circumstance, they didn't go into 2022's Olympics either. So it's been 12 years since NHL athletes have been in the Olympics in the hockey event. So it'll be really cool. I wanted to call out just some of our Hurricanes players for our Carolina fans listening. Look for, hold on, I got you here. Look for Sebastian Aho on the Finland team, Freddie Anderson and Nikolai Ehlers on the Denmark team, or Ehlers, however you say his name, and then Jacob Slavin will be playing on our United States team. So there, you can go and just Google the list of all the NHL athletes that will be in the Olympics, but there's quite a few, and so that'll be
exciting.
It should be really fun to watch hockey for that reason this year. Okay, that was the main thing I wanted to mention there. Just wanted to call out a handful of U.S. athletes in general to keep an eye out for. So this lady is considered the greatest alpine skier of all time, apparently. I didn't know that. A Colorado lady by the name of Michaela Schifrin. I didn't know her name, but maybe you've heard her name, Dad.
Yep.
She's won like a ton of things. And then we have Chloe Kim, whose name I did recognize. She's been in the Olympics before as a snowboarder and won a bunch. This article calls her America's snowboarding queen. So Chloe Kim will be back in it. She was close to not making it. She apparently tore her labrum in her shoulder leading into the just in the past years of training. Yeah, but she was able to qualify, so she will be in it. So that'll be pretty cool. And then we have a skier, U.S. skier by the name of Ilya Malinin. I don't even know how he's American with that kind of name. Anyways, I guess we have a big skier there. Then we have Lindsey Vonn, who it says after 5-year retirement and partial knee replacement, Lindsey Vonn
I can't believe she's come
qualified.
back. Yeah,
this is going to be her fifth. Yeah, her fifth Winter Olympic Games.
No, she is.
She's 41.
Senior. Yeah, senior. Most senior skier for us.
She says she feels rejuvenated and younger with this crazy adventure. So she's a skier. We'll see how she does.
She's down. She's a downhill, man. I mean, bombs it. Just frightening.
Okay. Then we've got a couple others, but then we on the bobsled. Bobsled's going to be fun to watch. We have Alana Myers-Taylor representing the U.S., and she's also 41. She's been competing for nearly 20 years, so pretty cool. Anyways, those are a few names just to keep an eye out for in the Olympics, just to have someone, right? Because I think if you just turn on the Olympics and it's just random people, it's hard to have any sort of interest or pay attention to it. But there's a few names for you. We'll try to look up some of the coolest stories to talk about next week and prep you even more. But for now, we're gonna wrap things up. Send us some stuff to the mail.
Hang on. I want to get my Olympic juice going. Juices, everybody.
Please.
These are my favorites to watch. So this real quick. I'm not going to talk about hockey because you've already explained it. American hockey, ski jump. Have you really watched these guys and see how many football fields they fly in the air? It's insane. No. I love the ski jump. And then the other three all are similar worlds, but the luge and the skeleton and the bobsled. But the skeleton's the freakiest thing. They're barely on to what do you call it, rungs or whatever the thing.
Rails,
I mean, it's barely rails, and they got that helmet and they are just flying. I can't remember. Even on that, I think they get to 80 plus miles an hour or something, 90. Anyway, so those are the ones I find. I'll watch those. Those things get me excited. That's it.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of just death-defying dive bomb events in the Winter Olympics. So that's true. I forgot about those. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Dad, thanks for joining. I got to go help with the crying baby.
Always. All right. Love you.
Love you. See you, everybody.
SportSense.